It's Joe Kearns. How you doing, mate?
Good evening, Matthew. How are you?
All right, you ought to come in soon. The sun's going to set, or the tide'll come in. See how we
Yes,
go.
indeed. Yeah, the west
So,
coast of Ireland, where I'd love to be. Yeah,
exactly, your dream background. Your dream background.
yes.
So, young Joe Kearns, what is on your mind? What have you been thinking about?
Well, virtually everything.
Yeah, I think the viewers know you to be a polymath, super
Yeah.
cray blue. We've only got 10 minutes, so we'll just filter this down. What specifically has been on your mind?
So the virtual life, let's say, the current craze, COVID has pushed us towards the idea of working virtually, working from home a lot. And I attended an event recently where it occurred to me that a lot of the people who like this environment imagine that the others who don't like it just don't understand it yet. And the phrase I heard used was that they're not believers yet. Now, I don't accept that it is an environment that suits everybody. I believe that for some people, it is heaven. It's their ideal existence, and then for others, it's hell. And there's all sorts of shades in between.
Exactly. I mean, I'm working with a group of younger people, so in their 20s. I thought they'd be agile, resilient, and robust. And exactly as you say, half of them have never looked so pale and unhappy. Half of them are in heaven itself. I've got
Yeah.
my theory. What's your theory about which cluster people end up in?
Yeah, and it's a lot to do with personality type, and I don't want to get too scientific about it, but my own belief is that people who are not people, if you like, those, again, as I said, I don't want to get too scientific, but if you're further down on the Asperger's, where your inclination is to work with things rather than people, then you're probably reasonably happy. And I have talked to people for whom this is a really ideal environment. But if you're somebody who really enjoys and who picks up a lot of signals and communication from being with people and picking up signals from people, which is a trait that many of us hopefully have, then being with people physically is a huge plus. And the technology hasn't allowed us to recreate that real environment where we're picking up all the signals and we can do all the casual conversations that we really can't do online. But I did hear of a technology recently, and some people are using it, where apparently you leave your camera on all the time and people can go to it like they would walk up to your desk. Now, for many of us, that's a terrifying concept because you are very likely to forget the camera is on. I don't like that idea.
Best not to have any itches and scratches. No, no,
Yeah,
very good,
yeah,
very good. So we've got this, yeah, we've got this idea, and here we go. And it seems to be, yes, and the idea of the sort of the extrovert or the introvert. So the extrovert is looking for stronger signals. They may be less sensitive to the atomic, and so there's that
yeah,
big thing. And then the
yeah,
social type is looking for cues and clues, and that's how they navigate.
yeah.
Whereas the introvert, well, I mean, yeah, and of course we're doing polar. I mean, I was coaching someone this week who, like me, you won't believe this, was fairly introverted, and he said he's a trainer like me, and he gets such a buzz from putting on a performance. A training is a performance, and
Yes,
afterwards,
yes,
he'd go back into his cave, as would I, and be fairly exhausted. But see,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
sort of loading up, rather like the sort of the autistic idea of sometimes you're getting no signal at all, sometimes you're
yeah,
flooded with signal. So it's
yes,
quite an interesting. It's not just extroverts are. It's much more. There's much more to it.
yeah,
But I must say, in terms of what I found, when you're accessing your private whispered thoughts to write something, being alone with no distractions at all, not even the energy of another human being,
yes,
can be the most liberating thing on earth. By the way,
yes, and
Joe,
I
which
think
way are
that's.
you? Which way round are you?
Oh, I want to be around people. I get out of the tech industry because my work was becoming very virtual, and I wanted to teach and be in front of people. And like the guy you described, I love it. I love picking up on the signals. I love the side conversations, and I'm deprived of that in this environment. And again, it is a personality thing. It's also, there is a skill element to this as well. And it's about your ability to concentrate in different environments. So if you're working at home and and this is a thing that often gets missed, not everybody is equal. If we all go to an office together and we all get the same desk, because I did for many, many years in various companies, we all have the same desk, same computer, we all have the same we're equal. But if we're all working from home, some guy is squashed in a cupboard the size of a toilet, and somebody else is in a vast room with wonderful views of mountains. Um, the playing field is not equal. So therefore, some people find it more difficult. Some people have a kid running around. I've heard a number of people say, well, I had to go out to do something today, and my husband is working at home, and he's looking after the kids. I think, God, so there's that aspect. It's the physical environment you have, and as you and I've talked about before, do you have a proper big screen? I have a really good setup here. I have a proper comfortable chair,
Yeah,
a
yeah,
proper
yeah.
desk. But I've seen people working with all sorts of basically unhealthy things, and that probably leads to another topic. It's who benefits from having us in this virtual environment. For some companies, this is a bit of a godsend. They can cut down expenses, though it's not going
Absolutely.
on for long enough yet for them to see it. Like if you've office space rented and it's empty since last March, there's no real benefit. You still have it, but they're now thinking maybe we could get everybody out. They don't have to spend money on looking after you at home. And I did see a statistic, which is often pushed out for the virtual environment, which says that productivity is higher. And it is, but it's also people work longer hours. If you're in a virtual environment, people are working at home, work longer hours.